Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Stephen and I am the Suffolk Craftsman, and this is a very exciting day. I have bought myself a guitar kit and this is an unboxing video. Why have I bought a guitar kit? Well, I built loads of stuff over the years. Everything you can see here, I built all of this. I've built boats and cars and bits of aeroplanes and everything, furniture, worked on houses as a builder. Mainly as a carpenter though, and well, I wanted to see if I could build a guitar. And what better place to start than with a kit? This is a kit bought on eBay. It's Coban guitars kit, as it says here. Haven't opened it yet, but let's see what's inside, shall we? Okay, first things first, some nice paperwork. Thank you for your purchase. Get 5% off all orders if you sign up to our newsletter via cobanguitars.co.uk. We have some instruction sheet offered to help you successfully build the guitar from Coban Guitars. So we've got a couple of pages of instructions. We'll certainly have a proper read of those later. A wiring diagram, how to connect it all up. I know that's a part that worries a lot of people, so we'll talk about that in due course. This is nice to see. So from a carpenter's point of view, this is really nice to see. This is an offcut of the veneer that's been used on the face of the body of the guitar. And that's really nice to see. If you damage it in any way, then here's your chance to fix it with a seamless repair, if you know what you're doing. We'll get to those bits in a minute. What else we got in here? A couple of Plectrums, soft one, medium one. Thanks guys, they'll get used. Bag full of electronic-y bits, pickups and all the metal work and the machine heads. We'll open that bag in a moment. Should we have a look at the neck of the guitar? It's all really nicely packed actually. There we go. So what we got here, this is maple, I believe. It's an ebony, pearlescent inlays, and all the frets. Now this is a Gibson Les Paul standard or studio pattern guitar that I'm building here. And so we know a bit about them and what they should look like, and so far I'm impressed. The shape of the inlays with their little curved idents. Let's give you a closer look. So if you can see that properly. Other things I've immediately noticed. So the headstock is cut here and cut here, but it doesn't have the fluting that you'd expect to see on a Gibson. Obviously you could leave it square or you can cut it yourself. Down in there, might not be able to see it very clearly. There's the head of the nut, and the bottom of the nut's bonded in here. It's a bolted on head. So we're going to see something you don't see on a standard Gibson, which is a backplate like you'll see on a Fender with 4 screws in it. The edge binding is really nice. Dots to mirror what's on the fretboard. You run your hand over it. It's actually really nice. It's well finished. There's a couple of little sharp points. We'll look at those. I'll do another video soon which will cover the actual build. This is just the unboxing. looks like certainly it's 95% there, I would suggest, and that is nice. Really shallow, which is what you'd expect to find on a Gibson, but we'll have a look at that when we start building the guitar. The machine work, even on these bits which are normally hidden, looks very nice. There's other things from a carpenter's point of view which are worth noting. A lot of Gibsons, because of the straight grain through the neck, when they get to this point and it's drilled for the nut, there's actually very little wood in this area, and so this is where they tend to fail. If you pick up a Gibson that's on its way out or needs a repair, you'll find there's a crack around there, runs all the way around there, because the grain runs straight through this part of it and gives it a weak spot. This is glued together, so the grain here stops here at this join and then carries on there in a separate piece of wood. That makes this section really strong, so this won't break like a Gibson. There's also another piece being glued in here to make up the thickness. That's just economy of scale, rather than wasting all the wood. If they made it out of one piece, they've made it out of two pieces. That's not going to affect the playing, and in fact, if you were clever, that could easily make the guitar stronger than it would have been otherwise. Machining in the holes is clean, the breakout is absolutely minimal, the general finish feels nice, it's smooth. The original Gibson Les Paul would have had the edge binding coming up over the ends of the frets, and this doesn't. But if you see a refretted Gibson Les Paul, you'll almost certainly see it looking like this. There's nothing wrong with that, it's just the way it's made. As I say, a couple of little sharp points which will need some attention, but before we finish building this guitar, we'll level all the frets and give them a polish anyway. So yeah, I'm impressed. The inlays could have been set a fraction deeper. That one there is really nice and smooth. You can't feel any step at all. That one's got a little step. That one's got a little step. That one hasn't. That one hasn't. That one hasn't. That one has. That one has. That one has. We'll get rid of those when we get onto that stage of the build. There's the neck. Looking good. Now the body. I'm going to recommend you have nice clean hands when you're doing this. All this wood at this stage is unprotected. It's got no finish on it. If you've got dirty hands, oily finger marks and things like that will be soaked into the wood and they'll be there forever. And you don't want that. So here we go. Interesting, it's worth noting. So the serial number on there, 140, serial number on there, matches. But you'd like to have a close look at this. Lovely veneer on there. Got some nice medulla rays in here, and all this detailing in here. Really nice, book matched. So you see the line here where the two pieces join. So this face in the veneer was originally on there. It's split. You open it out like a book, and the pages in a book, and the two pieces are glued down, and you end up with this lovely line. Really tight, no glue marks or anything like that. Lovely. The veneer itself is probably just under 1 millimetre thick. It's worth remembering when you come to sanding this and finishing it, the veneer is only 1 millimetre or so thick. If you're buying a genuine Les Paul Gibson, they're actually made with a maple face on them, and the maple is, given that this is an arched top, the maple join would be underneath here to the main body, and so there'll be some thickness here, and when you look in here you'll actually see the joints, and we can see the joints where this was glued up in two pieces just in there. Let's see if we can get that on the camera. I I don't think there's enough light in the right place for you to see it, but maybe I'll take some photographs and we'll put it up there. Internal machining for the pickups, for the cabling, rebates for bolts to go through, for switch gear, bridge, switches here. Turn it over, have a look on the back. It's made out of 2 pieces. There's a join here, straight down the middle of the guitar, straight down the middle of the neck. These are the holes where the neck will be bolted on. Machining goes into the back of here, of course, and it's nice to see that they've actually thought about the depth of the holes. Often the pots, when you fit them, have a limited length of threaded section, so there'll be a maximum thickness of material they can bolt through, and they thought about that when they've machined this out. You can see that this one is being machined deeper than the other 3, and that's because in the build of the body you've got more thickness here, so it had to be deeper on the other side. Hole here for the switch, for the pickup switch. Interestingly, the counter bore for the cover plate is off centre from the hole for the switch. Don't know why that should be. I'm really impressed at how clean all the machining is in this. There's no signs of breakout or chipping. It feels smooth. They've used nice sharp tools. You can see if you look in here, you probably won't be able to see it on the camera, but take my word for it, that when they've routed this out, this almost certainly would have been done on a machine. It would have been CNC routed. When they've machined this out, they've gone in steps. They haven't tried to hit it all at once. They've gone in once on a shallow and then gone in a bit deeper and gone around again and a bit deeper and gone around again and so on. So that's really nice. A hole for the jack to plug in. Again, nicely drilled, nice and clean. Little pilot holes for screws, makes it easier. Edge binding. Feels really nice. Feels nicer than the last genuine Gibson that I picked up. Neck to body. You see how well that fits. There is a bit of movement in there. Now it's going to be bolted. It might be bolted and glued. We'll see. Their instructions probably say one thing. What they actually do from a carpentry point of view might be different to that. But there's a little bit of movement in there. That pocket is not as tight as it could be. If that was a taper fit like the neck on a guitar of an acoustic, that would be sitting too low because it's too loose. But because this is going to be bolted together, it does actually give the opportunity of shimming and to change the neck angle to the body and so on. So we'll make that decision once we've got the bridge and so on here, and we'll probably put a couple of strings on it and loosely bolt this together and see how it all lies. Remembering the pickups, the bridge and so on here, are adjustable for height as well as for changing the intonation and so on. So that's going to be something that we'll look at when we actually build it. That could be a bit tighter. It's kind of funny. It's binding if you pull it out that way, not that way. But I suppose it is wedge shaped. There's a wedge that way. It's wider here than it is here. So yeah, it might be just a case of putting a small. Oh no, can't do that. Anyway. We'll investigate that when we start building it. So really nice. I like the body. I like the veneer on it. Really nicely featured. I bought this from UK Guitar Supplies or whatever. I'll put a link in the notes. When you order it, you can say, I want to order one of these. Can you send me a picture of 2 or 3 bodies to choose from? Because every veneer will be different. So I asked them, they sent me 4 different ones and I was able to choose one, which I'm very pleased with actually. is lovely featuring on there. Not quite sure how I'm going to finish it. What sort of finishing we're going to do. I mean, it will be a semi-transparent finish, and it will be a high gloss lacquer finish, and it will probably have some pinstriping on it because I enjoy doing pinstriping. Let's have a look at what we got here. Pickups, nice and heavy. Imagine they've got some big magnets in them. Little connectors on them so that you can plug them in, no soldering. I ordered a chrome finish kit, which is obviously what I've got here. Take that off, give it a little rub to take the machining oil off. Nicely polished chrome finish. The frames look a little bit flimsy, but I'm sure they're going to work. They're nicely, these are obviously injection moulded, the frames, and you know, they just look a little bit flimsy. But we'll see how it builds, shall we? So we've got two of those, two pickups, as you'd expect. Little bag of hardware. We've got the little top hats for a strap with a load of screws. We've got a bracket for the pick guard. All look nicely finished. Have a look at the bridge. Nice. Earth cable for the bridge, or grounding, not earth, grounding cable for the bridge. That's a good idea. It grounds all strings to the rest of the guitar. Nicely machined parts, simple. These got casting marks on them, so these are not machined from one part. These are probably die cast and then machined and chromed, but the finish is nice. It's maybe not as shiny as it could be on the flats there, but obviously this is a part that if you're not happy with the finish you can change it. The reality is actually they're quite nicely done, so we will certainly, when I build this guitar, we're going to use all the parts that came in the kit for the first build. If at a later stage I decide to change any of those parts, then we might talk about it then. But that bit's okay. Pack it all up later. God, everything's bagged, little tiny bags. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, so the saddle. It's called saddle, isn't it? Yeah. Sits on these two little spigots which give it adjustable height. You just unscrew these little screw in the top there, allows you to unscrew them and set the height, which is what allows you to set the action of the guitar. Again, this looks nice. It's well machined, it's clean, there's no sharp edges on it. Chroming's nice. Nice little touch. There's a spring running across the top of all the screws here, and that's effectively going to lock them in place and make sure that they don't vibrate loose and move. It's got a bit of an arch to it, as you'd expect. I don't know what the arch is. It's about 12 inches, the radius of the strings on this, yeah, that's nice. That's nice. And again, clean threads, no sharp edges. Nice. What else we got? Machine heads. Pick one up at random. Nice action. They feel like they're going to lock really nicely. Again, these are castings, not machined. You've got a mixture of chromed casting and what's probably a stainless steel of some sort. No sharp edges. Little sticker on the back there, I imagine that, yeah, there's a chroming behind there, so it's just a little protective sticker on the back there with a bit of chroming. They're not the same as the standard Gibson ones, of course, and you could, if you want some authenticity, you could say, right, let's go and throw those away and get some Gibson ones, but you don't need to. Nut cover, nicely machined, black. It's what you'd expect, actually. And the other side of the machine heads, the top half and the screws, all in there, all nice. All nice. As I said, this is a bolt-on neck. The bolt is a bit of a misnomer. It's screwed on, some nice screws and a plate and a gasket for it. So as I say, this is what you'd expect to see on the back of a Fender, for example. Again, really nicely machined, no sharp edges, good chroming, good polishing. I'm impressed so far. What we got left? Knobs. This is a bit that always gives away whether or not you're dealing with a genuine Gibson. Oh, very nice. Very nice. A bit rough on the back, but you ain't going to see the back, so why would you worry about that? On the face of them, that clever prismatic thing you get with this clear over back print and colour. You can read it from any angle, so you can read it from the side when it's mounted on there, or you can read it from above. 4 knobs, all really nice. Some strings. We need some strings, won't we? Looks like about a 9 to 30 odd. Probably very standard little ferrules on the bottom, nice short whips. Yeah, good. Strings. Finger guard, pick guard, and stuff. I can already see this is going to be the first thing we do something about. These are injection molded plastic. I'm not going to tell you there's anything wrong with that, because there isn't. But these don't scream quality. This is the first part of the kit I've seen where I thought, yeah, maybe that is something I'll change. But let's have a look. Oh, I hate that. Hate that. Absolutely hate that. We'll definitely make some new ones of those. I'm not going to use those from the kit, even though I just said to you the first build we're going to do everything from the kit. I'm not going to use those. That pick guard is grim. That looks so cheap. But you know, let's face it, you can buy a sheet of really nice material on eBay for about a tenner, and then cut them out yourself and make some new ones. So that's what I'll do. We'll do that as a separate video. A cable. You need a cable. There's also an Allen key in there, which is going to be for the nut, I hope, unless it's some random Allen key they threw in there, but I doubt it. But yeah, a little guitar cable is a bit short, but you know, if you get started, the only thing we haven't got here is an amp. And the electrics is the last part. Now I believe they call this pre-wired, and that's because it is, there we go, pre-wired. It's all on little plugs. That's really nice. So you can unplug it to feed the wires, and then put it back. Switch feels nice. I mean, we're going to assume that it's going to work. Little tiny pots. If you watch any YouTube videos on the subject, they'll talk about little tiny pots. The preferred route is to go for some nice big chunky ones, but I'm going to assume this is going to work, and if it's going to work, then we're going to use it. and once we've used it, if we don't like it, then we can change it. But the object of this exercise is to build the guitar as it's intended to be built, and then play it. I have to say, I'm a terrible guitar player, but we're learning. I might get somebody else in to actually do the playing. Oh, here we go. This is oh, that's quite nice actually. It's not bad at all. These are the nuts for fixing the pots and so on, and the little plate that goes there behind the switch to change from rhythm to treble. So there you go. This is the project that we'll be following over the coming days, weeks, months. Hopefully not months. We'll get it done pretty quickly, I expect. The building of a copy of the Gibson Les Paul ebony fretboard and so on. I'd like some suggestions. Colours, finishes. As I say, I'll almost certainly finish it with a high gloss lacquer. But what we put underneath it to really highlight this grain, whether we do it as red or sunbird, and maybe a bit of pinstriping, all that kind of stuff. Let me know in the comments what you think it should be, and we'll do it. I'm Stephen. This is my YouTube channel, The Suffolk Craftsman. This is the unboxing of the guitar kit. I'll put a load of links in the notes below, and if you like what I'm doing and you want to keep up with this, don't forget to subscribe. Bye.